windy out here today, but we've kind of ducked behind this wall here, so we're sort of protected. The only catch is that there's this like lattice work behind us, so we're not going to be able to walk back from our work. However, we could always, like, you know, move our easels out temporarily out into the wind to kind of check the composition. So I'll probably be doing that. You've got one of those odd sized panels again, so it's about 11 by 15, you say?
Yeah.
Linen on there?
Yeah, I glued some oil prime linen on there. Okay. You're painting over another old painting. How old's that painting?
This painting's probably like 7 years old. All right, I'm going to start by blocking in the sky. I've got a mixture of titanium white, vivid aqua deep, and some of this cobalt that Ariah squeezed out for me. And I'm using a brand new number 8 natural bristle flat Utrecht 209, keeping it fairly thin because I'm going to come in and start, you know, including things like suggested clouds and that sort of thing. All right, so like you said, high horizon. Yeah. And then you're going to include some of the wet sand down here.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I kind of ran out of room. I might have to rearrange things a little bit, but it's going to be the purple part of the wet sand.
And it looks like you're going to include a rock too.
I'm thinking about it. I might have to erase that, but it could be interesting.
All right, mixing up a general color for the water using titanium white, ultramarine blue, and a touch of burnt sienna to kind of gray down, you know, the blue. Water at the horizon is definitely darker, so paying attention to the relationship between the sky and that distant water, starting out at least somewhat in the ballpark. And then the values do get lighter as they come forward, just adding a bit of titanium white. Usually when I'm doing seascapes, I kind of scrub it in quickly and, you know, then just look for potential areas of white water or waves. And I know that I do want to include some of the wet sand down below. All right, I am going to bring up the horizon just a little bit. All right, so next I think I'll mix a color for the sand here, starting with a mixture of transparent yellow oxide, titanium white, got a little alizarin crimson, and also yellow ochre in here, and going with a mid-tone value to start. And I might want to have the wet sand on sort of an angle here. For the sky reflections on the wet sand, I'm using ultramarine blue, some cobalt blue, titanium white, and a touch of alizarin crimson. All right, and I'm going to shift up the direction of the strokes too, have some of them kind of vertical and some horizontal. Maybe I'll have it come a little higher over here. Like that. Love that sky already.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, the nice thing is like keeping the value range really narrow like that. You know, oftentimes, I don't know if you've experienced it, but like when painting clouds, you know, we can tend to paint the dark portion too dark.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you've got a really nice, that's like a beautiful, like narrow value range there. And then also nice contrast with the dark water on the horizon.
Thank you.
Looking good. All right, mixing in a little bit more ultramarine. I want a little bit more blue in this, even, you know, even at this this phase of the painting. There we go. Because there's, you know, the light reflective sand, but then there's also white water, and I want to differentiate between those two colors. The white water right here is going to be lighter and warmer. So for the white water, I'm starting with titanium white and transparent yellow oxide. There are other subtle colors I'm seeing in here, like sand color, but for now I'm just trying to get a nice arrangement of shapes. So just still focusing on composition. And then once I feel good about the shapes and the arrangement, then I'll come in and start you know, looking for those subtle shifts of value and temperature. Because it's so windy, the waves are kind of unorganized today and a little bit chaotic. Which allows me the freedom to, you know, kind of create in any way I want here. But I'm going to start putting in, you know, some wave patterns. And I try to keep this, you know, fairly spontaneous as well. And this area in here is actually lighter. All right, and I'm trying to decide if I want to include one of these breaking waves up close, and I think that would be like right in this area, so maybe I'll try that. And I want to make sure I don't put it like directly in the middle of the panel, so keep it kind of down low. Also, I don't want to make it too big. Oftentimes in the past, I would just exaggerate the size of the waves accidentally. But if you look, they're pretty small. Maybe I'll add a little bit of dark out here. All right, so I think I'm gonna adjust the value between the waves. It's reflecting a lot of sky in there, so it's pretty light in value. Just got some cobalt blue with white, titanium white. As I've mentioned in the past, you know, painting seascapes is sort of a relaxing type of painting to do, just because, you know, it's basically an abstract painting. There's just a lot of freedom. On the other hand, it can be challenging too, because you have to make up the composition, and oftentimes I think we paint waves in a really orderly fashion and it just looks, you know, it just doesn't look real. It's got to be a lot of irregularity out here, a lot of soft edges. Yeah, looking good already. I love this wave right here. Nice too, because that's like placed on this third right here. Very cool.
The color is a little too warm.
Oh, the warmth in the wave there?
The wave is a little. So I look out there and I see like a little bit, there's some warmth, but I see a little bit of like an emeraldish kind of green.
Yeah, although, you know, it's weird, like color harmony wise, I love it. All right, so at this point I'm standing back and I've got to decide, you know, where I want the waves and what I want to do compositionally speaking. Just get a little titanium white with some ultramarine. I don't want these lines to be too parallel. That's the thing. Yeah. You know? It's like I like that irregularity. Maybe have this wave over here actually be bigger. A little bit bigger. Like that. And then I'm gonna get some variety in the sky as well. Like, you know, right now it's all just like I'm gonna put some purple along the horizon next, I think.
Looking good, my friend.
Oh, thank you. All right, so for the fog in the distance, using titanium white and cobalt blue. And let's see, I'm gonna try to possibly have the fog come up a little higher on this side here. Again, so that I break up some of those horizontal lines. And at this point, I'm gonna try to use more deliberate loaded strokes. So short loaded strokes. All right, loading up the brush with some vivid aqua deep and titanium white. I'm trying to make sure that I don't have any hard edges, like say where where the fog meets the sky, that sort of thing. Keep the edges soft and keep the value range narrow as well. All right, I think I'm gonna have it come down lower, a little bit lower on this side. Sometimes people ask why I wear gloves. This is why I wear gloves. All right, I'm noticing little bits of ultramarine below these clouds. So yeah, just adding ultramarine and titanium white. And I'll probably have to reinforce this cerulean color in here. I think I want to lighten up the fog as well. So I'm just mixing in some titanium white, mixing it directly on the panel here. All right, I feel like I want some light bits over here to kind of balance out all this, sort of warm, light colored cloud here. So keeping the brush loaded. And maybe have this line broken up. Maybe a little bit of a suggestion out here too. I need a straight edge for that horizon. I've got another panel. So I'm just gonna set that on there. And I want this edge to be soft, but I do want the line to be straight. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna reinforce that though. I think red can be one of the hardest things to see, when you're trying to mix a color. But looking out at the horizon, I'm actually seeing alizarin out there, kind of a, red within the green. So now that I've got my horizon established, let's maybe add some of that red into the distance there. Mixing up a green here using phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, cadmium yellow medium, and titanium white. Actually, there's a touch of alizarin in this as well. I am going to be adding, you know, bits of sky reflection, but for now, just want to get these, some of these more subtle colors in here. I'm going to darken up underneath this distant wave, and actually I think I want to raise it up a little bit, just a touch higher, create a little more definition. Again, trying to keep the, you know, the brush strokes irregular, not too careful. All right, so I like the distant wave. I think I want to have a breaking wave right here. All right, so I want this to be a little bigger, but I don't want it to be, you know, out of scale with the painting. And then maybe over here,
That's starting to come together.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I think this needs to be a little higher. I think having this a little higher over here and irregular in shape, and then soften the top, you know, like this straight line, eliminate things like that. Try to have a variety of brushwork. All right, cobalt blue and titanium white. I want to add some of the, you know, sky reflections that I'm seeing between these two waves. You know, lightening the value, but also adding some of those reflections in. And I'm seeing some purple, so adding titanium white and dioxazine purple. Again, still trying to keep the brush loaded. Sort of a gray-green here. Sand in the foreground here almost has like kind of a greenish tone, and then where it meets the, you know, the wet sand, it's kind of more of a red. And sometimes you gotta, you know, you have to trust your instincts on these things, because you're like, if I look at it, sometimes I'll think green in the sand, really? But just trust it. Take a quick look and trust your instincts and your first impression.
It's hard to work in such a narrow value range for me.
It's tough, you know? It really is. Like, I feel like in some ways, I don't know, like, it's possible that these darks are too dark. I'm gonna leave them, but
I don't think so at all.
they look all right?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I do want to do is make sure that the top of these waves, you know, are kind of soft, so that they're not, you know, there's no hard edges on the top. Love all the texture and the motion in here. It's just really nice. All right, so here's a look at the finished painting, and I felt like I could have had more unified whitewater, you know, just a stronger design. So I did another with that in mind, and, you know, tried to keep the whitewater patterns, you know, united and somewhat, you know, more design oriented. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like to see some extra videos and help support the channel, there's a Patreon link down below. Got a bunch of extra videos and materials list, so check it out. Other than that, stay creative, and I'll see you guys in the next video.